Hey everybody, this is Silver Spook, and this is the Silver Spook live video chat about future Silver Spook projects. Neofeud 3, Terminus Machina 2, Silver Spook RPG, Silver Spook first person shooter, or other projects. We're now talking about the future Silver Spook games. Um, yes, I hope I'm on the right channel this time. Silver Spook Games future projects. I've been thinking about this for some time, thinking about possible future games to work on now that Neofeud 2 development is drawing to a close, getting very close to being done, and so yeah, I've been looking at the drawing board, looking at the notepad. I don't really have a physical notepad I write in. Sorry, something's clicking over there. Is that my computer clicking, or is that the soda cans bubbling, or the little spider running around in there? Anyways, so I'm thinking about possible future games. We're gonna be working on. I'm gonna be working on finalizing the Neofeud 2, obviously. But as I was saying, when I accidentally streamed to the wrong channel this morning, a few 2 minutes ago, most of the game dev process is actually after you finish the game. I think I've spent more time promoting Neofeud 1 than I spent developing it. That's actually where the real journey starts after it. But that's a never ending story of sorts, a never ending cyberpunk run. But anyway, so future projects. There's a lot of them up in the air. I'm like, it's really at a kind of a nascent brainstorming. I'm really in a kind of nascent brainstorming, just mulling it over, talking things through, talking shop, sort of phase. Let me just check my chatter. I'm gonna try to be more responsive with the chat today, because this is kind of a, I was watching the way other people run their game companies, so trying to take lessons from people. I was just in John Romero's stream. John Romero's, of course, the creator of Doom, which I have had some interactions with, but he's streaming once a week, so playing other people's games. That's one lesson: is play other people's games and stream, and then sell for $10,000 box sets of your 1990s games to random stream viewers. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone's gonna buy a $10,000 Neofeud 1 box set. I didn't really make. I don't have anything at that scale, but people have asked for Neofeud 1 boxes, CD-ROM version, floppy disk version. Yeah, I didn't realize it's really like that's a whole industry. Like, that's basically most of the GDP of the U.S. is basically just like Blockbuster Video VHS is sold for $25,000 and stuff like that. So, yeah. Anyways, so I'm just kind of thinking about the possible future games. Give me 1 second. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So I'm just thinking about possible future games, and one of them is obviously Terminus Machina 2. Most people here probably know Neofeud, so Neofeud 3 could be what game that I work on after Neofeud 2. Although I am a little bit like, I don't know if I want to do that right away, because I have just been doing nonstop Neofeud point and click adventure games for since at least 2015 or earlier. So it's been nonstop doing that. I guess I'm good at it by this point, and it's going to be easy to do, but it's also like I don't really want to feel like I'm phoning it in either. That's something I was thinking about. Is like, if I'm like, this is like, if it's too like I just kind of don't want it to kind of start feeling like a chore. I mean, both because it might not come out as if I kind of like grind it a little too try to mine a little too hard over that particular territory. It might get a little the well might start running a little bit dry. You know, like there's only so many Terminator references you can make until it's kind of like, oh my god, I gotta get something else. Although some people, I don't know, it seems to be a kind of an infinite. Sometimes it can seem infinite, but to me, sometimes I feel like, just like on the day-to-day basis, like I gotta get something else to. I want to at least try some things a little new. At least add something to the mix. You know, it's like I don't. You know, it's like if you make the same hamburger every day for like 12 years. I guess a game is not quite that. It's not the same as that. It's not quite as rote as that. But like it can start to feel a little bit run of the mill. You're just kind of flipping the same burger again and again and again. I mean, if you actually have to work, I know many people have to work, you know, fast food jobs. If you are flipping quarter pounder patties, if you are rolling 7-layer burritos, that is a disservice to you. I apologize. Because game dev is a lot funner than flipping burgers. Except for that one weirdo that's like, what are you talking about? Working fast food is the best, man. In fact, I'm going to make a game just about fast food simulator. I'm going to make a fast food simulator that's just about dipping giant, you know, batches of French fry potato into grease and flipping. I mean, those actually exist. So weird people do just love flipping burgers. I don't think the next Silver Spook game is going to be a burger flip simulator. So I apologize if that's what you wanted. Anyways, here. Sorry, my chat computer appears to be frozen. What has happened to you, chat computer? Heal thyself. I can't. So I'm gonna try to open up another computer to get chat in case there is any coming in. Anyways, okay. So I'm slightly distracted because my computer suddenly decided. My computer is also turning over a new leaf, and decided it would like to generate new sounds. You know, so what happens when you open up like you accidentally open up like a New York Times or some like old bloatware filled website that's probably been swallowed by Gen AI, you know, shell corporations that are just enshittifying ye interwebs. You know, you open up one of those, your computer has to run through like, you know, 55 exabytes of multimedia, and then it started. What sound are you making now? Like, why do you suddenly sound like an alien cricket? You're like a xenomorph grasshopper just suddenly was birthed. My computer is making an odd sound. Anyway, I'm gonna make a game called Distracted Game Dev YouTube Streamer Simulator. Okay, it's gonna the goal is to stay on topic during your live streams, and it's always on nightmare difficulty, as I am always challenged at that level. Anyways, so yeah, but if anyone has any idea, I mean, some people are like, what the heck's a Terminus Machina? What the heck's a Neofeud 2? I just want to hear you know, talk about Hawaii-related geopolitics, or I don't know, I want to talk about alien Earth some more. Who knows? Dunk on Lilo and Stitch and Moana. I know some people just want what Disney media do I have to get out of colonial guilt-free card to watch today? You know, I actually don't know who or why people watch these YouTube channels anymore. My algorithm is all discombobulated and arrhythmic. I'll just kind of like start just spitballing. One of the things, I guess one of the main things I was been thinking about is because now I'm reaching the end of the Neofeud 2 voice acting. Yeah, the chat computer is also simultaneously being odd. Hey, what's up, Street Cat Love? Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. Yeah, if you do have, whatever, if you do have something to say, feel free to drop it in the chat. I will look at it. I cannot promise you that I will like take whatever game idea you have and make it like a McDonald's clerk. I'm not a fast food game delivery service. However, I will at least look at the comment. May not respond to it. If you're asking for my social security number and bank account number, you will not get it. But okay. Anyways, but yeah, when it comes to like Neofeud 2, I'm nearly done with that game. I recently did an update on that like about 2 weeks ago. So I'm nearly done with that game. The current phase of Neofeud 2 development is it's basically every single character is cast. Every single character is cast. Almost all the characters' voice recording is done. There's some retakes of things that needs to be done. And then there's like, I have a bit more voice acting to do. Holly has a bit more voice acting to do. But it's nearly done. I was trying to get it done in August. I still have a goal. I feel I can still do this. I'm gonna have to like voice act in the middle of the stream. So if I start talking like Protege, like the $6 billion bullet, it's because I'm voice acting in the middle of this, and I'm just gonna take recordings of the VOD and stick them in Neofeud 2. Okay, that's called multitasking. That's called wearing all the hats. That's called keeping 65 plates spinning in the air as an indie game dev with like weird social. That's one of the reasons actually why I'm doing this, because now that I'm nearing the end of the voice acting phase, where I don't need because during the voice acting phase there has been a lot of communication. I'm like directing, I'm messaging people like every day basically. I had like you got to message at least 3 people and either like ask them about the voice acting, direct their voice acting, check in with them. How are they doing? Do they need more input? Do they need more conversations? Do we need to do a live video call? Like a couple weeks ago, I live directed our friends Luna Oi of the Luna Oi Vietnamese left YouTuber channel, and of course American Johnson of the Non-Compete channel. I was just so I had a call with them, live directing them. And then I got like, actually a lot of the Neofeud 2 voice actors are all like left YouTube content creators. Like one of them is Mexi of the Positive Leftist News channel, and then there's those are probably the 2 most high profile maybe. Then there's another one is Zilla's Itinerarium and Marceline Burkholz. There's a whole bunch of people that are like, they're like, there are a lot of YouTubers actually that are voice actors in Neofeud 2. So, but it was a lot of interaction. So I would message them, they would message me back, and I would say like, can you play this character? Here's a script. Can you read through that script? And they're like, oh, I really like that character. I would love to play this character. And okay, great. Here it is. Try to perform this character, sound like Roy Batty, but like on drugs, speaking like Ian Holm from Alien, and it's all like, and then like, they're reading through the script. They send me their voice recordings, sometimes they talk to me in the voice recordings. And so, but it's a lot of like communication and direction. It's been like for the last, since like about March till now, especially from May till now, it's been a lot of like back and forthing. And I just kind of like, I'm like literally like a director, like I need like the director sat, like I need that person in the front, the grip that has the black and white striped board with the strip that you slap it and then they say action, and I'm like the person like yelling action, right? And then also like telling everybody what to do. Okay, you stand over here. It's not so much standing over here. It's all voice, but it's all like this character is like this. The motivation for this character is they're trying to take over the galaxy. And they're like a gajillionaire. The motivation for this character is he wants to live another day, and that character is the cop that's Blade Runnering that this robot guy, right? So that's who you are, right? So a lot of it's like, it's creative, it's fun. I know people have said they've had fun. I mean, I hope they're not lying to me. I hope they're not asking ChatGPT to tell Silver Spook what they think they, as a underemployed, overeducated millennial who also voice acts, wants a weird indie game dev, also millennial, to hear. I hope they're not using ChatGPT to generate series of text, Discord messages, and email sentences. I hope that's not what's happening. I hope they're actually having fun. When they're working on Neofeud 2 voice acting. So I'm gonna have faith in humanity today, and say that that's the case. Gotta make sure I read the chat. Sorry, just trying to make sure I don't miss things, because sometimes I start going off and then I can miss things. Every time I go look at the chat computer freezes. Chat computer, what is wrong with you? Anyways, so so I've been going back and forth with a lot of people. So it's a lot more interaction. But now as I said, we're drawing to the close of the voice acting phase. I'm gonna be moving on to mostly the music phase. I mean, by August, as I said, I wanted to have the voices completed, all the voice acting completed. And I've been telling people, hey, so this is basically all the characters are cast. Some voice actors have done like 5, 6 plus characters, like American Johnson. I'm just gonna since we don't have to watch this, just so that the viewers don't need to watch the same screen this entire video. Non-compete. I'm just gonna put their channel up just to shout them out. Even though most people know who they are, but non-compete is American Johnson is doing. Just this last week, I was working with him on this really funny surfer dude character. It was really funny. Actually, multiple people have at least tried that character. So, even just like trying to voice act these characters, some people just like doing that. So, just for the fun of playing the characters. So we did a surfer. He did like the Cowabunga Michelangelo Keanu Reeves surfer dude. Hey, dude, he's doing that character. He's a definite theater geek film. He's a film student. So he did a surfer dude. He did Android Union, Galactic Workers of the Worlds. He's like the space IWW organizer. Against the global galactic plutocracy. Mr. 42069. 4 hours a day. 4 days a week, 20 hours. 4 days a week. 20 hours per week total. $69 per hour. 42069 program. Anyways, so he did a Union droid, surfer dude, military industrial complex warmonger, unconscious, beaten by fascist police immigrant, alien, like literally like alien with antennas, little green / gray men, or non-binary people, or other gendered people. And then he also played there's like at least 2 others. So he's done at least 6. We also had our friend Luna Oi. I was just going through her lines actually yesterday. Luna Oi, also our friend from Vietnam. Luna Oi's books should be like mandatory curriculum for Americans, and then things will be better. You wouldn't have the such terrible economic situations if they had Luna Oi's curriculum. But anyways, Luna Oi played like a whole bunch of characters as well. And who else? And our friends, of course, Mexi, which is another YouTuber. I think in terms of like the total following, it's probably like that's like the probably the order. but also she works on Positive Leftist News, or with Positive Leftist News. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, Positive. It's like a collective of folks that work on that, and we also have our friend. That's what it is. I can never remember how to spell that. Yeah, so these are some of the people that I've been working on. There's actually a whole bunch. There's also Mars in Theory. Marceline / Mars is also one of the voice actors that's done a few characters. And there's one more. There's actually so in Neofeud there's at least 5 trans voice actors in Neofeud 2, and definitely international. There's people from all over the world. At Neofeud 1 also have people from all over the world, as it should be. But anyways, just check the chat. Every time I check the chat computer explodes and screams at me and dies and then resurrects. It's Easter every day on this chat computer. Anyways, I don't know what's wrong with it. It was kind of freaking out last time too. I think part of that is Windows itself. Windows, the most recent Windows update, is not good. So Windows update, please don't be silly. Don't be silly in the middle of my stream, please. But where was it going with that? Yeah. So anyways, because where the voice acting is nearing a phase where we're wrapping that up, and like I said, there's a lot of direction and communication and going back and forth with people. Just a couple other. I probably should shout this out since I did that round of. There's a whole lot of voice actors. There's a whole lot of voice actors that have contributed, so I can't really do all of them right now. It'll take forever. But I feel like I should probably bring up what's this guy's name? Yeah, that one. I think it's Ron Swarthout, or Ron, just a little guy. He has like a horror podcast, and does other things as well. I think he has a YouTube channel also. So yeah, Ron is doing a whole bunch of voices, which is helpful because I got like a lot of voices, and I don't want to do all the voices. Also, our friend that sometimes is around here, Heel to Face. I'm not sure if Heel to Face watches his YouTube channel, but yeah. Is that Heel to Face? Is that the same person? I'm not sure. Anyways. So, but yeah. So we have Heel to Face and Ron have been doing like a whole bunch of voices recently. So thanks to them, just pulling out every possible voice. I'm just like I can't be doing I can't be talking to myself for like 6 hours of this game. So can we get some other people? just play this character. I mean, it's not just kind of like the characters. The character's not a throwaway character, but some of these characters are like, they don't have a ton of lines. Like there's 85 characters in Neofeud 2. Some of them have like 15 words or like 100 words. Just like a few lines. And I'm like, I don't want to. I'm doing like 30 plus. I'm probably doing at least 30 characters. It's a lot of characters. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to have all the same voice in the same scene. So, but it's hard, So I think I've talked about that before, so I don't want to belabor that point. I've talked about like what that process is like, the voice acting process. So, and this is about future projects. I don't get too lost in this. Oh yeah, another one is of course Kate Nixon, Ophidian de Cobra, who we've collaborated with before on Pigeon with Gun, and we've also collaborated on with Pigeon with Gun, as well as Decolonators and other projects. The Kate Nix show, but Pigeon with Gun this is another game I made in between. Actually, I've actually made 3 games after Neofeud 1 before finishing Neofeud 2. At least 3 games. One of them was Pigeon with Gun, and we collaborated on that with Kate Nix and Neofeud into Cobra, aka Zion Attack. It's gonna go a bit slow, so maybe I'll skip that part. And then I also did Decolonators. Well, actually, Luna Oi, American Johnson, and Kate Nix and Neofeud into Cobra are all various voices, and Luna also helped with research, voice the main character, and also helped with like research and like as like a consulting on this thing. Luna Oi is actually Vietnamese, and this game is set in and about Vietnam. So, yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna missing somebody. I'm gonna go like, oh, I should have brought that person up, but it's gonna take forever. So, but yeah. So the future is so because the voice acting is wrapping up, I'm gonna be doing less like communicating back and forth with people. So that's less like social time, and I'm like my I feel my head like going to worser and not good places as that happens. So I'm like, I gotta try to keep the part of this, like I'm trying to keep the social life going to the extent that one has one or I has one. I can have social life. Obviously I relate to the people in the household, but so you got like there's other things that you get from different. It's a different kind of thing. Also, like just like working on the games itself in the way that I work on them, and like the people that I'm working on them with. It's like Neofeud 1, like I've said before, Neofeud 1, Neofeud 2, it's been kind of isolated. It's basically a one person show. Like obviously that's on. If you go to the Neofeud Steam page, right, you're gonna see that Neofeud is a retro cyberpunk adventure game, and it was made by myself, which is where is that? Did it say that? Yeah, I'm the Silver Spook, which did the art, writing, programming, music, and audio, except for about 50% of the voice acting. So it's a big project. It was a big project to do, and it was a lot to take on as one person. It was kind of a lot just as one person, just to start with. Neofeud 2 is bigger than that. It's a lot, and but it is kind of it has been like, and when Neofeud 1, I was working in the city. We were living in the city. There's a lot more going on outside of Neofeud 1 while I was working on it. Neofeud 2, we are where we're at. We're in the Silver Spook. We're not in the place we were before. I'm not working that day job that I was working before, so that's different. And but anyways, so as like things move forward, and I think I've mentioned that before, that like the way Neofeud 1 and Neofeud 2 happened, they're basically like, me putting all of my personality and self and life and everything. It's definitely like a personal, Silver Spook, like, I don't know, like all of my science fiction, the cyberpunk, the Hawaii, dealing with living in, dystopian capitalist Hawaii, Honolulu, so specifically working as a social worker and a STEM teacher for homeless and at-risk youth, trying to keep them out of drugs and off of drugs and out of gangs and out of prison, and dealing with my upbringing. And it's a very personal game. Like Protoje's character, Carl Carmen's character, those are like versions of myself and the kids I work with. It's a very idiosyncratic. It's very unique, which is good in the time we're in, and it's really just good in general to actually have your own personal voice and your own personal art in the games. And that's also what like a lot of, as I gather, a lot of a lot of the gaming industry, especially AAA game companies, big corporate game companies, are kind of failing, and they're going all in on the malfunctioning, dysfunctional, wasteful excuses for software they call AI to try to keep up the EA games and the big Activisions, and even the Microsoft and PlayStation. Like they're apparently they're increasing the PlayStation price to $700, right? It's end stage capitalism eating the game industry and the creative industry and all industries really that still play that kind of failing game. And so like indie games that are about like actually having a really good having a really good personal idea, and not just one idea. It's like having all the ideas and putting it together in a way that is by people that are passionate about games, and they really want people to have a specific experience, and they put a lot of their heart and soul and the energy into that game. And usually, like, you don't need a team of 10,000 people to do that. You don't need billions of dollars. You got a lot of, as John Romero was recently saying, there's all this tech is already out there. You don't really need, there's not really a new tech that's going to come through that's going to make the game a trillion times better. Really, not really. It's kind of like, what do you want to communicate? What experience that's new, that doesn't exist, do you want people to have? Like, why would people be interested in that? And like, getting the game discovered and visible is like harder than the challenges of, oh my gosh, I don't have access to tech. I don't have access to a publisher, right? Because in the 90s, it was a question of like, you couldn't be an indie because like, what, you're never going to get your game inside of the GameStop or the Walmart or the Best Buy or the CompUSA, right? But now it's like anybody can publish their game, but it's just kind of like having people like see yours specifically when 60 come out per day on Steam, and as many on itch, is that's kind of the challenge. So that's it's actually a similar thing where it's kind of like getting people to interact with you, getting people to interact, and not necessarily, you don't necessarily socialize with all your players, but that is like, there is kind of it's a little bit, it's a gray kind of spectrum there, like who is the players and who is the community and who is the friends. It's kind of blends together. There's like really really diehard fans of a game. A lot of times they are or they become friends of the developers, right? Then there's people that just play the game, or they like the game, they like the idea of the game, they buy the game, they have it, they played it. But that kind of that also kind of goes for YouTube channels. Like, there's YouTube channels that have Discords and they talk to their community. I mean, I know I don't talk to mine as much. I'm trying to be better about that. Sometimes your community frustrates you, but that's part of communities. You have frustrating people in the community. You have disagreements in the community, but it's also like, what do you guys want to see from my next YouTube video? Thank you for supporting me on Patreon and all the other crowdfunding and digital mutual aid to keep the basic needs met, given the current system we have where things we need cost money. Anyway, I'm not philosophizing. I'm not talking about future projects. Okay, I don't see any new chats. Okay, but but long story short, so as the voice acting wraps up, I'm trying to like keep the ball rolling because I'm in contact with a bunch of these people. So I'm trying to like think about possible future projects to work on, and like I gotta still wrap Neofeud 2. Like, I still have to complete that game. I gotta release that game. My goal. I mean, I'm gonna be straight up. I'm gonna say it right now. Neofeud 2. I shouldn't have said that. People are gonna get mad, but my goal is to get Neofeud 2 out by December, or at least in December, because Fallout Season 2 comes out, and I want to be able to watch that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to watch that Fallout 2, and I just want to be playing with like $500 bottle caps. No, like original signed by Tim Kaine, bottle caps that he used to design the original Fallout 1 video game from the 1990s. Speaking of 90s retro games, the original Fallout is a 90s game. So I want to be done with Neofeud 2 so I can unload all of that and just watch Fallout. No, but it is a good goal because like then I'm like okay, well, you know, you just if this isn't perfect, you just got that's too bad, man. If this part isn't too perfect, too bad. We got to move on with our life now, and we got to get this game out. So I'm like this, you know, when it comes to the voice acting, I'm like, oh, could have been better. No, it doesn't matter because we got to move on. I mean, Neofeud 2, I already wanted it to have it out like 3 years ago. I wanted it out like 3-4 years ago, so I'm like way behind already. So I'm just like, we just got to move forward. There's stuff I could like add or remove from the game. Like, no, just leave the game. That's like the producer. Like, you know, I was watching all these dev documentaries. I think I shared one on the Twitch stream where it was like there was like, you know, there's a lead programmer, there's like the level designer, the artists, right? Lead artists, you know, just the general artists, other programmers, and then you got the biz guy. So like I have to, when you're indie dev, sometimes you got to do everything. Like I do everything. But then I have to put my biz guy hat on and be like, okay, we got to get this game out the door because you got to make money. you gotta start making revenue from this thing. You can't be like letting it. But it's not just business. It's also like you have to like, it's part of the artistic process is being able to complete and finalize your work and put it out there. And not let it, you know, just like sit. Because nothing will ever be perfect. You know, that goes for writing, that goes for art, that goes for like painting, art, graphic design, movies. George Lucas has yet to learn that lesson that nothing will ever be perfect. That's why he keeps editing for the 55 umpteenth millionth time his Star Wars. Anyways, so I still gotta finish Neofeud 2. Gotta finish it by. My goal right now is December. I'm not gonna say that's the release date. That's like my goal to have the game done by. So I said like if I want to have it done by then, I got to get all the voice acting done by August. I still feel like I can meet all the voice acting recorded. It may not all be in the game by end of August, but I just recorded a whole ton of Protege yesterday. I was like, I've been waiting to do that guy because Protege. Anybody know who Protege is? If you don't know who Protege is, go play Neofeud 1. And look out for that robot kid. Protege is a litmus test to see how based you are. If you're repulsed by Protege, something's wrong with you. I'm just kidding. You're probably fine. But if you have COVID, then you have problems. No, yeah. You could have LCCOVID. But yeah. So anyways, so as I'm wrapping up the voice acting phase, I gotta still do the music phase of Neofeud 2. But like my plan is like while I'm working on the music, while I'm finishing the voice acting and working on the music for like September. Ideally, I finish the music in September. And then October is like testing. November is like if something takes a little longer, that's like the stretch month. This is you know, it's just really like, you know, this is just like what I'm. And also November also be like setting up the Steam page, the itch page. There's still a lot of questions because like Neofeud 2 is way big and it's been hard to actually I haven't got this part of why I probably need to be doing more of this kind of stuff. I haven't had anybody actually test the whole game. I have offered people the patrons have had access to a Neofeud 2 download. I haven't actually gotten feedback from anyone who's actually played through Neofeud 2 and then I think a lot of people just like don't want to play it because they want to wait till it's done, which I understand. But I'm gonna need testers. I'm gonna have to test the game myself, but I'm gonna need testers probably like in November. Once the music's done, then it's gonna be like the game will be done, but then it will be there will be bugs. It's impossible to not have any. Essentially, unless you're literally God. Unless you're like literally God. Like if you are John Romero, no. He'll have to have bugs too. If you are like actually, unless you are like, literally a perfect being, you're gonna have bugs. So we're gonna be testing them in November. But like during that phase is like October, November, like September, October, November, or from now until the game's done. I want to already be like brainstorming and like and potentially like I may not be working on the next Silver Spook game like hard like full on. I can't because I gotta finish Neofeud 2. But like I would like to kind of like be in the process of at least like the pre-production or the just like designing. Because some of it I think is gonna be just kind of like playing with testing out ideas, because obviously on screen we have Terminus Machina 2 ? Neofeud 3 ? Those are question mark. I'm not saying I'm gonna do Terminus Machina 2. There is actually a game called Terminus Cyberstar that's like being produced by a whole team of people that I sometimes bring up. That is like it is set in the Terminus universe. But people, I could potentially do another game that's close to the Terminus Machina that's set, somewhere within the Terminus. Actually, technically, Terminus and Neofeud is all in the same universe. It's all the Silver Spook verse. It's all my universe. It's my island, as they once said in Braveheart. Anyway, random millennial reference. That's being a millennial is just like walking around the world, just walking the earth, just like spouting off random references to the last 40 years of pop culture and the movies and books and games. That's what it is. And then just like people say words and then you're like rattling off Linkin Park sound lyrics. That's what being a millennial is like. That's what all my games are like. No. Partially though. I try to have it be more than simply a long series of disconnected homages and references to various aspects of culture, history, and entertainment. I'd like to say pop culture because some of the culture is not that popular. Like Deus Ex is, I don't know if that even it wasn't very popular. I mean, most of the planet hadn't played it when it came out. Some of this is like weird, esoteric culture. It's kind of like weird esoteric culture, and I think for like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, some of this is like kind of unknown. So I don't know. Anyway, but I mean that's gonna be part of it. Is like what kind of audiences might, what kind of sensibilities might the next game have? And one of the things is like I would like other people to be involved in it because I did Neofeud 1. As I said already, Neofeud 1, Neofeud 2 is basically solo, but like that's I think I've done enough of that, and I gotta branch out from that. If nothing else, then for my own mental health, actually. So I think I have kind of talked about this a little bit on some of the previous Silver Spook updates videos that are more about Silver Spook games and the Silver Spook cooperative here and the company and the business, rather than just like me going off about various topics on a more educational or pretending to review a popular movie or TV show but actually not. So the future projects, I hope, and there might be more than one. So when I say projects, I don't just mean like it's gonna be Terminus Machina 2, or it's gonna be Neofeud 3, or it's gonna be the Silver Spook Games first-person shooter, or it's gonna be the Silver Spook Games RPG. That's not like I like. There's a possibility. There's a good possibility actually that I work on multiple at once. And my idea is that like if other people, like some people have approached me, actually several people have approached me like, I would like to make a game set in the universe of Neofeud. Like that's actually more than one person has already done that. So it's like if you're making a game, so somebody is like gonna be working like on a game set in the Neofeud. Actually, well, somebody is already doing that. It's called Terminus Cyberstar. Multiple people are already doing that. So if somebody is like, I want to work on a game set in this universe, then like then I won't necessarily have to. I feel like I won't necessarily have to be like leading that, but I can be like, assisting with that, and like I technically have kind of done that already. So that's something else that I might kind of so that way so if somebody else is like, Silver Spook, I'm gonna make a game that branches off and it's gonna be dealing with hippie Terminator, or this is gonna be dealing with this is like a space sci-fi shooter that has companies, and it has elements from Neofeud 2. It has like the Bisberg Zuckerbucks, and the planet Bizon is referenced, and there's the spacecraft, like they're gonna be fighting, and they're gonna have similar fighters to the the Neofeud 2 galactic imperial capitalists war machine. They're and it's gonna deal with like this aspect of that. So then it'd be like, so that person could be like running that project. I don't have to be like, I don't have to have it on my computer, like doing the day-to-day nitty-gritty, making all the writing, programming, music, art at all. You know what I mean? But I'll be more in like a directorial producer sort of role for that, I guess. Depending. But like, so if that happens, then I could be, that's something I could have, like that would be one project on a burner, and it wouldn't be my main burner. It would be like a project that's taking like 5-10%, and then there could be another project over there that's like, who knows? I mean, I'll be like some kind of first-person shooter where like I'm writing the dialogue for it or something. So let's do like a first-person shooter where like I'll program the first-person shooter, and we'll have like all these witty one-liners, like how like pro. I just had this weird thought. I was like, what if Proto J was the main character for the first-person shooter? Like, I'm the instead of like running around and being like, don't have time to play with myself like Duke Nukem, it'd be like, I'm the $6 billion motherfucking baller. Like turn it, with the with the golden. This is my Desert Eagle 9.0. Or you have like Carl, actually the original Neofeud was actually Carl Cobbin running around shooting scorpion rats in a weird junkyard. That's actually the original. So we'll actually do that. That's one Silver Spook project. Do the original scrapped Neofeud 1 first blueprint, which is just do like a running side-scrolling shooter with this guy running around, try to get back to his broken ass vehicle in like this, wastelandified junkyard, former America, right? And he's like dodging the poison, the venomous whipping tails of mutant 3-eyed rat / scorpions, and then there's like killer drones that are coming like, hello sir, you did not meet your quota of ChatGPT queries today. We detected you don't have Neuralink brain scan installed. Here is your kamikaze suicide drone death penalty. Holy shit, you gotta shoot that to blow it up. That was literally the first Neofeud 2. So Neofeud 1. So like, it's like, so I was like, Silver Spook, I'm gonna make that game. All you gotta do is write all the script for what Carl Cobbin says. And then he'll be like, oh, I don't have any, I spent half my day's wages just to pay for this bottle of olive oil. That's because of the tarifflation. I'm paying freaking $600 for the bottle of expired olive oil to grease up my cyber arm. God, jobs, damn it! And then he shoots a bunch of scorp rats. So jobs, damn it. See, I've got this. The thing is, like, the Neofeud universe does have all of these. It does have a lot of like there are a lot of lines in Neofeud and Neofeud 2 that could be an entire universe. There could be a whole multiple season TV show on Netflix or Apple. Probably Apple, because Netflix just makes near AI gen schlop that it like scraps after half a season and it takes down after it puts it up within 48 hours. That's a weird thing to do. But anyways, and speciesification. That's the sophisticated term for it. Shitification. That's for cool suave people. That's what they say. No. There's all these like there's all these like there's all these ideas that are dropped all over the place. Like, there's gonna be like a quadrillionaire simulator where you have to play King Warren. When he said, I lassoed an entire Ariat golden comet that contained more gold than all the gold ever mined on Earth, like 50 Olympic swimming pools full of gold in one comet. And that is how I cornered the gold market during the collapse of the global capitalist financial system. And that's how America finally paid its debts. 37 trillion were paid off by going into space on a SpaceX, space EKS, SpaceX, not letter X. Legally distinct in the Neofeud universe, and he goes into space, and he actually like grabs a comet, right? That's worth $10 quadrillion, and that, right? You don't need 10% of Intel. That company's gonna go bankrupt soon. You don't need tariffs on India and Brazil and China and Timbuktu, Antarctica, and LV-426. The aliens, xenomorphs, they're going to just eat Americans. They're going to implant chest bursters inside their torso just for raising the tariffs on exoplanets. That's not how you pay. That's not how you pay for your giant gargantuan collapsing imperial capitalist hyperpower national debt. What you do is you just grab a space gold mine. You just grab a giant mega gold nugget in space, and then you pay it on. That's how America. It's kind of a joke, right? It's like that. That's how America. That was a Neofeud 1. That's literally part of Neofeud 1. Is that's how the neo-feudal capitalist techno kings, as global empire implodes, that's not gonna work, obviously, because they don't have the space capacity. Like, NASA has defunded the last SpaceX Starship rocket exploded, and is like, increasing the lead and heavy metal, the heavy metal intake of random Puerto Ricans and Central South Americans after all the bits of Elon's ships, just dusted all that area with his wreckage. He's like aerosolized microplastic and micro metal. America's probably going, Elon, wait, before you blow that ship up, let's get some of the rare earth metal out of that ship so we can make a hypersonic missile. Anyway, so I'm just gonna start I just start like randomly making stuff up when I'm trying to stream. But anyways, but long story short, that's like quadrillionaire simulator, right? It's a Neofeud universe game where you just fly around space, right? You fly around space and try to pay down your imploding Great Satan national debt. You're like, Satan needs that. We need that cashish. Satan needs that drip. Shit, let's get Great Satan. You probably will call yourself Great Satan. You just be like, Uncle Sam needs that cash. Hey, give me that cash. You gotta fly around in like your Trump your Doge rocket and grab some comets, and then try to harvest it before the Chinese do, and then you fail, and then you look. Anyways, I'll stop writing that game for everyone. But that's just some random like my point is that like in Neofeud 2 and Terminus Machina as well, but really definitely in Neofeud 2, there's a lot of just like random lines, sentences that go into it's a lot. I like Neuromancer a lot. I like the William Gibson writing style. He just throws all kind of stuff. You have one sentence and it's just like filled with like history and technology and adventures. It's like all kind of major world events happen, and you're just trying to like describe like an arcade console. You're just talking about a guy walking into a bar, and it's like you're talking about all of human history that's like rewritten for the last 100 years. And actually, it's kind of like Escape from New York. I also did that, where he's like, you flew the Gulfire over New Leningrad or something like that. And like in that sentence, it's like, whoa, what the Cold War was still happening at that time. It's like the Cold War was over. It's unclear who won. And there was a American attack on the Soviet Union, right? But it's kind of like all in one sentence. But I guess I'm trying to describe it like so. Like a lot of the way that I write, because I'm like one of my favorite, Holly and I met on the William Gibson message board, so I tend to like write in that. I tend to write, and I kind of like that's a lot of like my native literary territory to the extent that I am literary whatsoever. I spend a lot of time like reading and writing in that kind of cyber. Not there's other writers that kind of do that too. Like John Shirley. Most of they're older people though. But this is the ancient archaic now obsolete thing called using your brain and like actually reading with your eyes or listening with your ears. It's really old. It's a weird thing that like nowadays, it's like the hip new thing is just to like have, outsource broken software to do the thinking, reading, and writing for you. But back in the day, people used to actually read. I'm sorry. I'll stop being sarcastic and vindictive. Sorry, Gen Alpha. Like the world's not too great, but it's kind of like I tend to write in that kind of like big, like dropping a lot of world building and a lot of just dropping a lot of information in to. It's not really. It's actually, if you think about it, it's not necessarily a lot of information. I mean, I guess people don't really talk like that, but like, if somebody from like 1800 was teleported to now, and you're just like, oh yeah, so I'm gonna take my car to the Walmart and pick up internet routers. If somebody from 1800, right, heard that sentence, almost all the words in that sentence would mean like, you're gonna take a car? What's a car? Right? So that's a whole, wow, you just like threw my whole, right? So in science fiction, sometimes that happens because the world that you're talking about, the world that people are living in is not our world. In the same way that the world of 1800s Victorians that maybe rode in a horse and buggy, right? That maybe heard of, the chronometer, right? That's what steampunk is. Steampunk is like seeing things from the eyes of the 200 years ago, and that was really cool. Oh my God, you can tell time. Like people wore cogs on their top hats because cogs and mass cog work was new and hip and cool. Like cog work was like the AI of the time. Cog work was like the autonomous robot. It was the DJI drone of its time. Oh my God, you have a drone that can fly for like 12 hours. Oh wow. I mean, in America, in the West, you can't really see these things because it's collapsing. But in normal societies, they're witnessing humanoid drones like every day doing electrician jobs, and that's mind blowing. That's like whoa. Like, and you'll see these videos right coming out of mostly out of the East actually. We'll just say that. But like that. Like for the 1800s, instead of DJI drones, we can just have like remade 1990s first-person shooters like Heretic, Hexen, and Doom and Quake. And I love that. That's really great. It would be nice. I would like to have a robot that could save my back from pickaxing my garden and walking to the grocery store and doing heavy laundry when me and Holly are getting older. Like, I would also like that on top of like remakes of has-been Empire's video games. That'd be nice. As much as I love the has-been Empire's video games from the 1990s, because they're not going to make anything good or original ever again. I would also like self-driving cars to cost $600 and zero. I would like completely unpolluted Memphis's by mass renewable technology adoption. Instead of we have forced mass carbon emitting, unnatural gas destruction of, cities and power outages. So anyways, too many asides. So long story short, it's kind of like there's all these little sentences that happen in the sentences that people say. Sometimes they're in descriptions. All that world building, right, can like potentially go into a lot of different directions and be their own games that I might not necessarily, I might be involved in, but I don't have to necessarily lead the whole thing. I mean, I might lead, I might lead a project or something, or maybe more than one. But yeah, but we'll see what happens. These are just like where things are at right now. Let me look at the chat to make sure I'm not missing anybody's chat. Don't think I am, but there are 10 people watching. But yeah, so if people are like interested, join the Silver Spook Patreon and you get access to the Silver Spook Discord. That is where I do a lot of communication though. It seems like that, and there's some email, but also potentially on the YouTube channel, people sometimes interact there as well. If you have something that you would like to see from Silver Spook Games, I can obviously think about that as well. I mean, I will take it all into account. People like, oh my gosh, I would really love to see this. I like this idea from Neofeud 2. I would like to see that expanded. Like, oh my god. I was voice acting Protege yesterday, so I was like, there is an arcade shootout. There's the arcade shootout where Carl Carbon and Protege are fighting a legion of SWAT cops that are attacking them, and some people who are more traditionalist, they like Monkey Island, which does have some combat, but it's insult sword fighting. I think it's not time and eye-hand coordination based. If you're like, I like Space Quest, Quest for Glory, Day of the Tentacle. Some people didn't really like the arcade shootout bit. It was a bit hard for some people to play, but some people might be like, I want more arcade shootouts. We just have a game that's all a cover shooter. I don't know if that's the majority of people. But that's with Protege and or Carl Carbon or the Princess Sybil dating sim, right? It's called Throne Swipe, right? Swipe left for a new prince, swipe right, or princess. Everybody loves visual novels, and there's a lot of these cozy games. Cozy royal cribs, a cozy game for people who are not gajillionaires. Help Sybil try on the perfect dress. Help Princess Sybil Clinton Bush, the multi-quadrillionaire planet-owning. Well, I guess she's in Neofeud 2 it's a little different, but help the multi-planetary conglomerate-owning princess / daughter of the richest man and CIA director in the solar system. Help her find her Cinderella shoes, or like try on shoes, right? Try on glass slippers with Princess. Holly played Princess Sil in the first one, so Holly's gonna do a lot of voice acting for that one. That's nice for my throat. My vocal cords appreciate that. I don't gotta do too much for that, so that'll be nice. There's actually multiple people playing Princess Sybil now, 2 different voice actors. There's this thing now where like there's the people that play characters suddenly get played by different people. This has happened also for Pigeon with Gun, because there's some people who have played a character in the previously are played by Holly, and the characters that are played by Holly in Neofeud 1 are played by someone else in Neofeud 2. I shouldn't say it's one of those people I talked about earlier. So there are characters that do canonically they have changed voices. Part of that is I needed a whole crap ton. I needed like a metric ton, like literally a ton. Like if you weighed all of the MP3 files, it would weigh a ton. Okay, maybe not. But like I needed like 30,000 words. Like I needed like an entire novel of voice acting from one character that was a femme character. So Holly just did that because like it just works. And then if when Princess Sybil shows up, like Princess Sybil has less, so it's like, but she has to talk to her a lot, so that's gonna be weird. And they both have human sounding voices, so it's like Anyway, long story short, that's just some more inside baseball. Hey, what's up, Victor? How's it going? I'm talking about random ideas for future projects here today. After Neofeud 2, or I'm not saying like, I, like I was talking about, future projects of Silver Spook games, and as Neofeud 2 is wrapping up, I'm gonna simultaneously be working on the early phases of these future projects. So that's what's going on. Anyway, some of the other ideas, I have talked about RPG. I had a little list of ideas. You know what's weird is my ability to type has gone down. Like, it's actually not that I can type slow. It's just that, like, when I type, I enter. It's the physical. I'm gonna make a millennial core game where it's just all it is. It's like a millennial. It's like a actual boomer shooter where you're like, every time you press the WSASD key like 5,000 times, right? You suddenly get arthritis in your pinky and your ring finger, right? It's gonna be like, oh no, you can't duck anymore because your 42-year-old millennial pinky is falling apart because you're old and your body's degenerating, and you ran out of aspirin. It's like you could be playing the game, you'd be like, oh no, you can't type anymore because your third and fourth lumbar disc are herniated because of the sitting way you were sitting. So now you have to, and you have no health care, so there's nothing to do about it. All you can do is just like, so there's gonna be like a physical pain while you're playing like the Silver Spook first person shooters. Like, physical pain meter is increasing, right? So we don't really need the aim to get worse because that's just you feeling it. But it'll just there'll be like a physical on-screen manifestation of how fucked up your body is while you're playing the video game. So it just reminds you that you're like just remember, if you miss the headshot on that imp, or if you die a little sooner in that boss fight, against the six-headed Hydra, just remember, your body doesn't work very well, and you have like, you have long COVID, plus your wrist is inflamed, and you can barely sit upright. So it gives you, maybe it gives you like an automatic elder millennial modifier, like makes the game a little bit easier. Like, we know you're in extreme pain and you're disabled and you can't afford your car insurance or your health insurance, so we're gonna just like suddenly drop. It's like accessibility. It's gonna make it a little bit more accessible. Like, you don't have photosensitive epilepsy, but you can't, your left arm doesn't work anymore, and you can't get it repaired, and you can't afford a cyber arm. So we're gonna make it a little more accessible for you. Anyway, I literally was thinking about like a game that has actually, Neofeud, technically there are multiple disabled characters in Neofeud. Carl Carbon is technically, he's cyber disabled. Nostromo is mentally deeply disabled. He's a deeply mentally disabled person, disabled by the corporation that made him. And so is Carl in a lot of ways. He's like, I can't afford to fix my own body, so can I get some help? No. That's Tough Nails, Tin Man. I think that's Norton Shuffler, Carl Carbon's boss in the protagonist of Neofeud 1. He says like, Tough Nails, Tin Man. If you want healthcare, go basically just die. There's nothing to be done. So don't even try to make a revolution, okay, and install socialism, because there's nothing to do about it. All you can do is just like suffer and be miserable. So but yeah, if you do need to get your arm fixed, Tough Nails, that's actually one of the mini games in Neofeud is you have to repair Carl Carbon's disabled malfunctioning arm, right? That part is meant to feel a little bit like, it's obviously, it's, if you are a partially or more disabled person, it's supposed to be like, it's a signifier of that. And if you're disabled under a capitalist system that cares not for anything but the amount of value that you can provide, right? You're the life support system for UPS truck driving hands and feet. That's all you are, right? You're the life support system for an AI prompting fingers, right? You don't even do any work anymore. You just sit there and prompt AI to pretend like there's a economy in the U.S. But you don't really, so So that has been a part of the Silver Spook games, and like obviously people falling by the wayside because of their marginalized, their various identity, right? Is a big part of the Neofeud universe, or their lack of dynastic privilege, which is directly related to marginalization. Then their lack of aristocratic privilege slash money privilege slash various racial and other privileges, or just ability of their body. So but that could also like be part of another game. Let me just look at I had a little list here, but what I was saying was I'm able to talk a lot more than I can type. Like I actually, like, technically I've done a little survey, and I've actually found I actually like technically write an entire novel every week in the amount of streaming I do. It's approximately 9,000 words. I do more than that. It's like 9 to 11,000 words per hour, right? And if a book, it's about 100,000, 150,000 words. Some books are shorter than that. Let me just look that up. How many words is the average book? I don't even know. Let me just check that out. 70, yeah. So if I do 10,000 words an hour, I stream for like 12 to 13 hours a week. I'm writing a book and a half a week in words that I just say. I type like, one page, and then my back's sore. Yeah, that's what I gotta do is I gotta get a system. I gotta get like one of the speech to text dictators and or speech to text systems, and just like have it all written down for me, and then have it just figure out how to edit it. I'm definitely not gonna use malfunctioning, broken software that they call AI that just spits out crap, because that's worthless. But I have to have a system where I kind of just a software system that converts phonemes, consonants, and vowels into literature of the visible character type. And anyway, that's just a random too many random asides. Let me read the chat. Ibuprofen simulator, exactly. Anyway, hope everything is going okay for you, Victor, as well. Our friend Victor is I know going through some times, but good to see you around. Okay, what was I gonna say? Yeah, let me look at my list of my possible. Okay, here's just like some ideas that I've written down here. Since I'm all right, 12:36. I'm gonna try to get done sooner because I don't want this to go on forever. But if you do have any ideas or thoughts about anything to do with like what you might want to see a new Silver Spook game, like Silver Spook first-person shooter game, Silver Spook RPG game, Silver Spook another adventure game, Silver Spook specifically point-and-click adventure game again, Neofeud 3, Terminus Machina 2, something else, or you have like a random idea, just I would say this is just all brainstorming, so I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to do whatever you said, but that's not really the point right now. Let me see. I'm trying to find out. Please search. Yeah. So here's some of the ideas I literally just wrote down. More open-ended, not necessarily so cyberpunk, possibly not even an adventure game for the next game. I've been thinking about. I played Chrono Trigger, the Super Nintendo RPG, world renowned, obviously. Lunar Eternal Blue, ostensibly the best Sega CD RPG. Haven't played them all, so I can't say personally. And Phantasy Star 4, which is like the Sega Genesis, one of the top Sega Genesis JRPGs. So I've been thinking about the like those retro RPGs, JRPGs as a possible game. I've been playing a whole lot of boomer shooter FPSs, so that's another thing I've been thinking about a lot. Some reference points were Severance, Mortal Engines, Fallout, Chrono Trigger. I already wrote those down. Skies of Arcadia, Steampunk. One of the like genre like thematic shifts I was thinking was working in steampunk, because I've done so much cyberpunk, so like steampunk would be a little of a different change of pace. Some of the other ideas are like polyfurcated people, or people broken up into many parts, where you can mix and match aspects of characters to create new people. So the characters themselves are not like one person, but they're like split up into multiple. I don't know exactly how that would work, but that's just an idea I had. Dread agoraphobic game mechanics. So you have like a dread level, like, oh my god, there's too many people here, I can't be around these people. It's like, oh my god, I hate large crowds. You have to get away from them. Uh, a contagion that spreads in the. I was saying in an RPG, there's a contagion that spreads in the mana sphere, like in the magic ether, right? That which in that which surrounds, binds, and penetrates all things. But if you use mana, there's this the miasm. It's the meeasm poison, and when you draw magic from the monastery without protection, you suddenly become soul sickled, a terrible condition where so you have to, like, basically, if you don't, there's going to be like a mana mask. It's like it's kind of like a metaphor for masking, right? And if you don't wear the mask, when you draw the mana to cast your fireball, your soul suddenly withers away, and you suddenly have like brain fog, and then your body actually starts to deteriorate faster than it would have if you didn't have your magic mask. Like, it's like, I don't know. I was like, how can we do that in a way that, kind of gets the point across? But how on the nose are we going to do that? So obviously it's about community care and ongoing. There's there is a surge of what right now. So just saying, we haven't had COVID for almost 6 years now. We haven't had zero. So just saying, masks work. So that was one idea. I was like, we'll have a game where, like, if you want to cast your lightning bolt or your fireball or your water 2 spell, if you do that without your mask, your magic mask or whatever, maybe something that goes in the back of your neck, right? Is the back of your neck, like the nape of the base of your skull, is where the magic flows into you. And so if you don't, it's like, like your Matrix data jackpot. But if you don't have a filter, then when the mana comes in from the monasphere, it's full of this poison that everyone else has been spewing out. So you have to make sure that you filter that crap out. Otherwise, when you cast your spell, you might cast a fireball, but then your body gets, you start to wither, and then you start losing health points, and you start falling over in the middle of battle or something. To symbolize practicing community care while you're JRPG grinding and fighting the golems and the level 3 ice dragons, or whatever the fuck you happen to be fighting. Peepin News said another Deus Ex mod style game, standalone first person versus sim, would be a busy. I guess that's really time consuming and demanding. What's up, Pete Venu? Thanks for stopping by. That is one of the things. That is like, I mean, in all honesty, I was just running that in my head like yesterday, in the last few days. Haven't fired up Deus Ex 2 mod in a while. It's been a while since I did that. But that is a possibility. Yeah, I haven't done that to mod. But I haven't been playing Quake. I just finished playing the Quake remake, and then I was playing the Heretic Hexen remake with the Night Dive Studios, the Bethesda Night. I don't know. There's so many people involved in that, but I think it is like I believe it's like Night Dive Studios that is the lead remake, the remaker entity or whatever under Bethesda. Microsoft owns the entire Western PC gaming world, and then it's under that Bethesda, under that Night Dive with id Software and whatever the Heretic anyway. So but I was replaying Quake, and Quake is pretty close because it's not Unreal, but it's right before Unreal. It has that low poly, late 90s first person shooter engine that's pretty close to Deus Ex. And so yeah, I was thinking about like potentially something closer to Terminus Machina. Was one possibility that I was seriously thinking about, for sure. Anyway, so let me read some more notes. A game for those who like retro '90s games but are full 40-plus-year-old grown-ups who would like sometimes more sophisticated themes. But of course, there's always. I mean, there's a lot of comedy in anything I do. There's maybe less comedy in Terminus Machina. There isn't none. It's not Neofeud is not really a comedy game, obviously. Um, but there is a lot. But there is comedy. It's often very dark. It's usually not. It's not like wow hoo. It's not Charlie Chaplin or I don't know some reference that isn't 100 years old. It's not it's not SpongeBob SquarePants or it's not freaking it's not an Adam Sandler movie. I don't make Adam Sandler movies. Uh, obviously. Uh, Pete Winner says that the world building. Well, thanks a lot for the compliments on the world building in the Silver Spook games. Yeah, 3D games are popular now for sure. A lot of I've seen like I recently played Celico, and then there's also that John Romero was just playing. John Romero was just playing something called Trepak or something. Trepak 3. I can't remember what the name it is. What it is called. Let me just. It was fucking. Trepang, yeah, too. Yeah, John Romero. Who's everybody knows who that is. Was just playing I was actually in the stream while I was playing it. It was actually interesting watching that because I was like, oh wow. It was like when me and Holly, because Holly is modding my stream right now. John Romero he's a native guy, native alt dude. He has hairs longer than mine usually, not all the time actually. There is a native alt like rock music loving game dev, married to a lady that's modding and handling the chat and like telling him, hey, your mic's too low. John Romero, your mic's too low. Famous game developer John Romero, you're the volume of the game's too high. You gotta drop that. And there's like dogs barking in the background. Here we have chickens here. John Romero has dogs. That's the difference between Silver Spook Games and John Romero. That's the only difference. We're just as famous. We're just as rich. We're just as important to the gaming industry. I'm just kidding. But like we have chickens here. We actually have a dog, but the dog is farther. But John's dogs were barking so loud into the mic, and the dogs heard themselves barking on the chat monitoring speakers, and they were barking back at their own dogs. So I was like, John Romero, famous game developer, there's like 27,000 Twitch followers. Everyone, half of the chat was like sending their resumes to him, like in the chat. And it's like, so people are like, is that how you apply for jobs? Like, that's a weird thing to do. Don't just like drop your freaking resume. Don't drop your alma mater and your curriculum vitae and like weird, professions of undying love for John Romero in the Twitch chat. That's a weird way to apply for jobs. Anyways, I'll stop being silly. But he was playing a early 2000s immersive sim 3D. I think it's kind of it's supposed to be like a Fear, like FEAR, that famous 2000s first person 3D game. There's a whole bunch of games like that are out. Like there's like Celico, and I mean I don't know. There's so many games coming out. It's hard to keep track of all of this crap. It's too much to keep track of. Anyways, but that I don't think it's actually like he and then they did say like that like they were like obviously they like the Romero games. I mean people everybody, I think everybody know, a lot of people would know who that is, right? So like they did say like Romero games has been in a bit of they got dropped by Microsoft in the last month. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos and news about that. And they recently did get their project they were dropped by the Microsoft publisher. So a lot of people like lost their jobs and they lost a lot of funding. So that was rough. So they're talking about, it's been hard times over here. We don't really have that problem at Silver Spook Games. We just don't have any funding. So like it's like like the Hulk. What my secret is. You know what my Bruce Banner secret is? I'm always angry. So you know what the Silver Spook Games secret is? To getting, how the Silver Spook Games secret is to not having a funding crisis. We just don't have any funding. That's we are the unfunded. We're the fundless. We don't kickstart anything. There's nothing to kick, and there is no start. We're just an endless permanent bankruptcy. There's no kick and there's no start. There's nothing to kickstart. We just always broke. That's the same. Well, we don't have any funding. We have Patreon supporters, but we definitely can't afford like 20 people with full-time salaries in an office building somewhere. That's for damn sure. Anyways, but yeah, no. In all seriousness, no. I know I talk about him a lot, but it's because and it's not just because I have been in events with John Romero, and we're close personal friends. No, I know Holly has it somewhere. Holly has the interview with the Indigenous Games interview with John Romero, the panel. Even before I got to be on this panel event with them, I was there's lots of advice that I have listened to and I've followed when he was talking about like, this is some things you can do when you're a game dev, like always work with people that are as serious as you, when you make sure you choose people that you want to work with. That's one of the most important things, because if you're going to spend most of your time with them, that's what really going to matter. That's actually part of what I'm doing. I'm like trying to like take that advice more to not to heart, but like to act into action in the next Silver Spook projects, because it makes total sense. It's kind of like if you don't like who you're working with, you're gonna spend hours a day every day for years of your life. You're not gonna get those years back. That's actually gonna impact most of your life, right? Like most of your life experience as a game dev, a lot of your life experience is gonna be like either working by yourself. If you like working by yourself, and like obviously I like working on these games. Otherwise, I wouldn't dedicate so many years and hours and blood, sweat, and tears to these things like Neofeud and Neofeud 2 and Terminus Machina. But also, like, if you do work with people, you don't want to work with people who is just going to be grating and just horrible to work with. If you have to work at McDonald's, I'm sorry for your loss. Like, I hope that at least paid the bills. But it can be fun to dealing with, like, really rude, obnoxious customers and crappy. If you do have really crappy coworkers and boss, that's not. You might quit one McDonald's and go work at a different one, just because of that, right? So that's another thing that I've really, and so like I do actually like I try to watch other game devs. Also, I play close attention to Dave Gilbert, because he makes adventure games, and obviously some of the games, not all the games, but like Neofeud and Neofeud 2 are adventure games. And he's also a small. His scale of business is closer to Silver Spook Games, so that's. I try to also play close attention. Obviously, I interviewed him recently in the last few months. Dave Gilbert of Watch It Out Games. Anyways, I'm trying to come back to the topic. So those are some ideas. I think I thrown out a bunch of ideas. At least some people have suggested some, of what they would like to see. If you are in the chat, if you are watching, I am trying to look at the chat more closely. So don't feel scared. Like if you want to see something, like I said, like I can't guarantee that I will do what you said, but I am interested to hear the feedback. That's part of what I would like to do, is try to do a bit more of that kind of stuff. Just to, cause that's actually a thing that's trying to get a little bit more. I'm not necessarily gonna be like everyone vote on next Silver Spook game. I'm gonna make exactly that game because I don't think that's not really gonna work either. But like there's like seems to be a lot of people that would be interested in a particular game, and then other people that have ideas in that same genre or just their own perspective. It can even just be like you from your personal perspective. Like I like these games. I think that this would be really cool. Like because like Pete Bennett was like the world building in the Terminus Machina world is really great, and so like doing more immersive sims would be great because that's a lot of people are playing those and it would work really well. And that is the valid perspective of somebody. That was what I would like to hear. Particularly people who are supporters. If you are a Patreon supporter, that's also important. I would like to hear that as well, because that would be something that I know some people are more interactive with their communities. I know I'm not the most, unfortunately. Sometimes I wish I was. Unfortunately, Neofeud and Neofeud 2, like I said, they had to kind of be made the way that they were made. But once again, I know it's the third time I'm saying that, but like, I'm trying to have Holly has talked. Holly's friend Kate has worked. Kate Nix is one of the voice actors and has worked with us before. Holly's friend Kate is like, she goes into a cave and then she would historically go into a cave, work on a creative project like music or a show or a video or something or artwork, and then be like, come out of the cave and be like, here, I'm the goblin coming out of the cave. Here is the thing. I'm showing you my thing now. Right. And it's kind of like, so like she's been trying to like do a little bit more collaboration, like in more, not disappear from the world for like months at a time and then come back. Whoa. And then, right. But kind of like be more, collaborative in the world. And, just more I think Dave said something like I can't work on a game for more than like 2 weeks, or I forget how long, but I can't be working on a game for more than X amount of weeks, and then I'm like, my dopamine is getting too low and I gotta just come out and I gotta like have people try the prototype, look at whatever I have of the game and give me feedback on that, and then like help me out with that, and I was like, oh my god, no wonder my dopamine's like at negative 6,000. 8 years. 8 years. You can't go 2 weeks. I want 8 years. Victor Gill says, my favorite scene of Neofeud 1 is the one in the Silica's home. Because you face hard choices, what do you think about something in the style of Papers, Please that makes you take those hard choices? Papers, Please, I know that's a really great game. I'm gonna feel, people are gonna be like, "What's wrong with you?" But I haven't actually played all the way through. I've seen people play it, but I haven't actually played through that. But I get what it is. You're the border agent. You're somebody that's dealing with people who are arriving at a checkpoint, and you have to examine their papers and see if everything is in order. And it's very stressful more stressful for the people that are. You have all the power over these people, right? So, Neofeud does have a Papers, Please sort of part with the Silicas, where you're like choosing. You have the power to basically choose whether a family has their child taken from them. Like ICE. Everybody's talking about the ICE raids that not everybody's talking. It is happening on a big public scale, and so you basically are like you're not the ICE agent, but you're like choosing whether somebody's child gets taken from them or not, in basically child protective service. So that part of Neofeud is very intense. It's probably the most serious scene in the whole game. Most intense scene in the game. So that's a possibility. There's definitely like that's I'll make a Neofeud ICE agent simulator, right? You just go around, grab people in a Home Depot, Oh, I don't like the way that person looks because they're too Mexican looking. Let's go, you know, or like, you know, actually that the people. I don't want. Why would I want to play that game? I want to be a horrible person. That person doesn't look American enough. Let's go, get in the truck. Oh my God, there's a whole bunch of there's a Stop ICE group coming in. They're trying to stop the mass deportation based on this racist norms and ideas of the purity of America's genes. Sponsored by American Eagle. Somebody actually recently said, like, there's a company called Eaglite. Oh, no, there's an organization, not a company. There's an organization called Egalite, EGALITE, right? The Egalite Cooperative, and multiple people have called it Eaglite, right? Because it's EGAL. It's a French word for equality, right? Egalite, like égalité, liberté, fraternité. But not said with you don't have to say that with a French accent, and most people got it wrong. And there's somebody that recently said, like, Eaglite. It sounds like Eagle Light. You know, it's like American liberalism. like Eagle heavy, or Eagle is American conservatism, and Eagle Light is liberalism. I thought that was hilarious. It's the American Empire, but it's just the light version. It's like Diet Coke America, Anyways, but yeah, so that's definitely looking into doing something more serious like that. I mean, that is something that people like about Neofeud. That is one of the aspects that people appreciated about it. Let me just go through my last little list of my little list of my ideas. Game for those who like, obviously, I said game for those who like retro 90s games but are full 40-year grown-ups. Okay. I mean, I still feel like that's where I was leaning towards. I'm like, I want to try to lean towards that audience. Like, you can play it if you're 20 or 25 or, I don't know if you can play Neofeud if you're like 12. I mean, there's some, I mean, some things are not quite appropriate for that very young people. It might be hard to read. It might be hard to understand if you're 10 or 9, obviously. But like, I feel like it's definitely the age of people that are buying games. There's recently this data coming out that says 25%. There's been a 25% plunge in Gen Z and younger people buying games, which is like, that's just unfortunate. And the games are getting more expensive at the same time. So I don't know. That doesn't sound like it's going anywhere except going to a deep dark place underground that's bad. It's not hell because it doesn't exist. No. Games for Pixel fan grandparents. Haunted Bones hijinks. It has to be relatable for people with back pain and bills. One thing I think is actually was added to that Celico game that I was playing. Celico is like a little indie game. It's like a 2000s Fear. Is Fear is FEAR that game? Is that an immersive sim? I don't know if that counts, but like I know it's real popular. Right after Deus Ex, it was like really popular. But it's a first person game. I guess, yeah. But anyways, so like, but that game, it has like a health. There's like a health care company that is really unsympathetic. That you have to like buy overpriced meds from, and I feel like that was something that's definitely there for the relatableness of people nowadays. Like various gestures vaguely around reasons. Healthcare prices, couples, families with normal healthy relationships. Yeah, and actually that's something that would be I would want to do is like, because there's a lot of like really bad examples of family and like romantic couple, family, mom and dad, parent. There's a lot of like not good examples of unhealthy relationship types. So like having better family dynamic relationship dynamics, if there is some kind of family dynamic, couple family dynamic inside of a game, then like having that be better was one thing. I was like, try to do that. Actually, like in Neofeud 2, that's actually part of Neofeud 2. I think I was like, maybe unconsciously or maybe consciously working on was like the main characters in Neofeud 2. Actually, Neofeud 1 too, but even more so in Neofeud 2. The main party, like the characters that are like your playable characters and their close friends and allies, they do like have like they have like better. There are couples. There's actually multiple couples in Neofeud 2, and they also have like more the familial dynamics inside of the protagonists' groups. They're like found family or sometimes literal family. Like they have like healthier normal relationships with it. They're not just like constantly toxically fighting all the time for like really not good reasons, or breaking up just for drama's sake, breaking up, getting back together, trying to kill each other just for like, because sometimes things are bad, but it's like there should at least be some like, this is more how like is a normal not necessarily marital relationship, but a normal couple relationship, a normal or poly unit relationship, or multiple family relationship. Like this is like, or even like friendship kind of things. Like this is more how and obviously a lot of cis heteronormative sort of relationships are not great. And so modeling, and so like in Neofeud 2, that's a lot of the situation. Dealing with a world where most people are living in fantasy land, while the real one goes to crap. Yep. That was one of the, and actually having a delusionality stat. So like, or the like denial stat. Like how much in denial are you? Right? There's gonna be like a actual copium meter. Like how much are you just trying to pretend like things are okay, even though the society you're from is falling apart? Or like, how delusional are you right now? Like, are you at a 35? Like instead of a health meter, it's like delusion meter. Like, are you like completely disconnected from reality that like, things are not 2019? Like how far away from reality are you? Oh, this person's about a 15. Oh, okay. So this person like acknowledges that like there are mass human rights atrocities happening, but they're not prepared to like really do anything. So they're about a 40% delusionality. So like how delusional are you? Like how in denial are you of the state of affairs? That's gonna be actual meter in the world, right? I find it right. They wouldn't roost for it. Well, good luck with your dead tree ceiling. Negative. Another idea was copnium, a resource mined from the denial module of the mind. So the more copnium that is in people's minds, right? It's like we will require additional BBC broadcasts. We require additional Financial Times articles, right? Or like we require additional xenophobic crap. So the more copium people have in their mind, the more denial they have, the more resources you can accumulate. As some kind of it's kind of like a collapsing empire manager, right? It's like, let's see how much we can distract people from how bad the situation is, so that we can keep on hoarding their resources and the dollars and taking advantage of them, right? So the copium is a resource you mine from the mass collective denial of the individuals within the society that you ostensibly are in charge of. Being bombarded with so then there's like being bombarded with negative stories, algorithmic manipulation at all times, being disconnected from everyone, and then you have like a negative. So like so as the individual, the higher that your negativity gets, the higher that the negativity based upon all the psychic damage you're taking from the world gets, the harder it is to accomplish anything. So you like try to plant your vegetables in like your Stardew Valley simulator, but you can't, because it's just like you're so drained because you're watching all these mass atrocities or things are falling apart that you can't do anything in the world. So you have to balance the delusionality with your negatives. So like if you pay too much attention to the real world, you become so just like, you know, you just become so like paralyzed with just like despair, right? That you can't do anything. But if you become fully delusional, then you live in a la, you know, you're like in like the upper class, wealthiest, you know, delusional parts of New Versailles in upstate New York. You're just like, oh, everything's perfect here. I haven't seen a single negative post in the last year. It's amazing. I feel great. I don't know why the air is that color and why it smells like rotting flesh, but I haven't seen a single negative post. And I have a lot of servants in the millions of dollars of my trust fund that have allotted to me. And I have a lot of, I have a lot of Treat Lorite Uber Eats treats coming to me all the time. Sometimes they look a little bit weird. Like, why is the lettuce all like moldy and brown now? I don't know, but I have 100% delusionality. So I'm living in the happiest time of my life. Even though the food's a little funky. Air smells a bit weird. I have weirdly, I can't think straight, you know. I've been using AI all day, but I don't care. I just don't look at what it does. And it's great. I'm 100% delusionality. zero negativium, 100% delusionium, right? So, but the more you pay attention to the news, you're gonna lose the delusionality. So you have a little more correct, rational identification of the world. But then your negativity goes up, and then you have to constantly be balancing those two, right? You have to constantly be balancing those two. How much of the reality I'm gonna pay attention to, and still, but so I know what the hell is going on and do something about it. But then not so much that I completely become disabled and paralyzed and in total frozen up in war crime shock, you know, just like you like the delusion meter, but the game. Well, I mean, obviously, if you're gaming, you're already partially in a delusion. I mean, you're in a fantasy world, but you know, as I said with the Silver Spook games, Silver Spook games are not science. I don't do science fiction. I do journalism with. Don't do science fiction. I do journalism with. I do stylized journalism with futuristic characteristics, not sci-fi. Obviously games are partially escape, but then games are partially should be about, you know, I mean, like art, right? Do people go and watch movies? Do people look at art? Do people read books to get away from reality or to get into reality, right? And I partially, like, you know, it's an escape. Some books are more escapist than others. Some movies and games are more escapist than others, but they also are there to like mirror and reflect your experiences, maybe through a new lens, right? Sometimes if it's too real, it can be like, oh my gosh, I gotta take a break from that, you know. But yeah, you know, some I mean, like the original Deus Ex, right? It was very much, you know, reflecting the time to a large extent. Like, some of it was a cautionary tale, but it's also like there were giant corporations and the military-industrial complex were working together, and you know, there were healthcare companies that were, you know, doing horrible things. I mean, they still are, right? Like Versa Life is basically United Healthcare plus, you know, it's like big pharma and the big healthcare industry, you know, and they're in collaboration with giant billionaires, and they have huge military contracts. And there's advanced run amok software and computers that's, you know, and there's lots of homeless people, right? That's one of the things at Deus Ex is there's lots of homeless people all over the place, and there's also sick, you know, and that's 2020s, you know. It was like maybe people was like, well, that's just like, this is like a dystopia, this is not America, you know. But you know, it was a possibility, you know, and to a large extent, a lot of cyberpunk works have unfortunately come true, as we talk about. So yeah, but I mean, I do think that like that's uh, sometimes if things go over people's heads, I mean, it's like if it goes over your head, that's fine. I know there are people who've played Neofeud and they didn't get it, or they got something. I don't know what they got something unusual from it, which is that's fine. So I'm trying to make my expired I'm trying to make my random Windows notifications get off my chat computer chat window. Anyways, okay, I think that's all on my list. Okay, here's some of my random spells I came up with. Deep fry, flambe. That's my fire magic. Fire, deep fry, flambe, and then this water spells are splash, drench. There's all of RPGs is like coming up with random names of things to call your spells and magic and armor and upgrades, and like you have to have like 6,000 of them. Water, splash, drench, fire hose, tsunami, electrocute, thunderstorm, freeze, blizzard, whiteout, sub zero. If I can't, maybe can't use that last one, but too close to Mortal Kombat. I do like coming up with words though, so that's one thing. I like I said, I haven't done like a fantasy game, so that's one thing I was thinking about. Like in a JRPG, there aren't really rules. One of the nice things about the JRPG style of games is like they're really wacky. Like you can get serious and then it can suddenly be not serious, which is kind of Neofeud is kind of like that. It's not really. It's like it can be cartoon for little kids, and then it can suddenly be like for like serious. Or not fully serious, but like, people are dying, around you, and it's difficult to deal with, and but it's like, but then there's also cartoon aesthetics to it, so that's the thing where it's a different sensibility. Like in the West, for sure, there's like less. It's more, it's for adults. And adults have adult emotions, and kids have kid emotions, and the kids are very simple, and we don't deal with complex themes. We don't deal with war. We don't deal with mass human rights atrocities. We don't deal with unjust systems of economic arrangement. And then like the Miyazaki movies are made for kids, but then they deal with all these things. I mean, in the anime, but that's like a different. It's a different like Eastern. What do you call it? Just set of expectations in genres. Anyways, okay, so that's a whole bunch of ideas that we're throwing out there. But yeah, I also was working on some I was actually trying to get my Doom going up again. I had made some GZ Doom mods. One of them is actually a video. I turned it into a video. It was Doom. It was Doom. It's a Doom level that I used, and I recorded footage in Doom. Technically, I guess it could be considered machinima, where it's like using footage from inside Doom, a GZ Doom level that I made with textures and characters and such. It's for a video called The Lone Masker, which I had to do it pandemic specifically. It was actually it was 2 years ago. I just realized it. Holy crap! It's like wow. I realized how much time has passed since then. But yeah, 2023. So I was that was one of the things I was working on, was trying to like work in Doom. And this morning I was actually trying to get that reset. I haven't opened it up, the level editor, in a while, so just kind of play around with that. Because if I do that, then like I might one thing I was thinking was, since I did a little bit of, I haven't done Deus Ex in a while. I don't know what the legality of that is. The one thing about GZ Doom is, if you work in GZ Doom, you can sell the game, like you can put it on Steam. You can put your game in the Steam store, as far as I understand. And as long as you don't use the art assets, like the .wad files from the original Doom or the other game files from others, then like you create your own levels in your art and such, then that's fine. And so that was one thing I was like, oh, because there's several games I've played, like Hedon and Celico, I think is a Doom. I think that's a Doom, GC Doom game, if I'm not mistaken. There's like a few games I've played. They're like made in GC Doom, but they're like their own standalone games, and then they're on Steam and itch. So that was one thing I was like, GC Doom. I know Monogatari knows Godot. I was heard the Night Dive Studio people and John Romero was talking about Godot. Apparently, it was name dropped. It was like, oh yeah, there's lots of great stuff coming out there. So, I have never used it. But that's another possibility. But I have at least done some work in GG Doom recently. I did mod the Deus Ex. The Deus Ex engine. I don't think you can. The Deus Ex engine. I don't think you can sell something that you've modded though. That's the thing. I was like, if we're gonna actually go commercial with that, then that's part of why Terminus Machina. The reason why Terminus Machina. One of the reasons why Terminus Machina doesn't have a longer version is like, I don't know how much I'm gonna keep going with this game because I gotta make something I can sell. But I know some people are like, well, I'm just gonna make a mod and people will Patreon it, and like I guess like I just haven't figured that out how to do that. And I'm like used to like, if you make a game, you just make a game and you put it up. I guess technically the Hedon and Celico also had Patreon, and then it's also on Steam, so it's like both of those things. But with Terminus Machina, it is a Deus Ex mod, but Deus Ex is proprietary, and you can't, unlike GZ Doom or Godot, you can't put the game up. You can't take a Deus Ex mod and put it up for sale on Steam or itch, as far as I know. So, anyways, is there anything else I wanted to say? It's 1:20, time to go. Anyways, yeah, but thanks. Oh, you know what? One more. I want to just share this because I just put this out. Here's a Neofeud 2 update. Here's a little in-game that features our collaborator Kate Nix, who is a voice actor in Neofeud 2 and a good friend of ours and Holly's in particular. So I'm just gonna share this real quick.
Warning. Illegal tampering with dead war criminal dispensers is a federal offense. Continued tampering with Cash Blaster may result in up to a $100 trillion fine, death, enslavement, or kidnapping of your firstborn.
Oh, bullshit. No, don't shoot. I'm just the, Cash Blaster repairman. Yeah, this machine is a decade or 3 late for refurb and dead war criminal restocking.
I was not notified by Ameribank of a maintenance session. Connecting to WAN network now. Unable to connect to Ameribank HQ. You are guilty of ATM fraud and destruction of a corporate headquarters.
What? I didn't blow up your corporate office. You're just bursting with software bugs. Marinating in this sulfuric rain, wildfire ash, and anti-riot gas for years will do that to you. I'm here to fix you.
As a pseudo-sentient artificial consciousness, I am authorized to perform a citizen's arrest. Say anything, or remain silent for instant eradication.
That's a catch-22.
You did not say anything, or remain silent. That does not compute.
Phew. Thank Musk that worked.
Resorting to default response. Eradication.
Damn it.
Thank you for choosing Cash Blaster for your banking needs. Have a nice day.
Anyway, that's I was just editing that scene, so I put that up on the Instagram, and it's also on Twitter and all over the place where you can follow us. There you go. there's a shout out for the socials. Yeah. So there's some random Neofeud 2 for you. Something else I did not mention. Yeah. So anyway, so long story short, that's a bunch of things we're thinking about. Yeah. So some. I'm probably gonna try. One thing I want to do is maybe I'm gonna try to do some prototypes in the near future. And you know, some of these gonna see about trying to work with some other folks on these things. One of the prototypes I want to work on is some kind of 3D level, because I was working on some 3D material, but didn't go too far into it, and I mostly just kind of like part of it was actually I was teaching our kids 3D game design, because I do the STEM, science, tech, engineering, math. So that was one of our that was what we were working on at that time. So but I might try to do a bit more of a serious, like, actual prototype, like, could this work for a future game? Because mostly I've been working in 2D for the last long time. I have done some like some kind of like fun little small, basically like for fun little 3D things. Actually, I almost don't want to even mention some of them is like maybe I shouldn't even mention them, but technically the Lone Massacre was a video that was made using Doom. It was also using some Deus Ex. It was actually using Deus Ex. It's actually Deus Ex characters. It's like the Deus Ex suit, the Deus Ex, like the Deus Ex, like Mr. Manderley's secretary is like one. Is over there going like, everything's totally normal. It's normal to have, you know, scarlet fever, hay fever, cholera, and tuberculosis every other day. That's normal. What are you talking? That's like, wait. It's totally normal. Like, don't you know masks don't work? You know, it's like she's like, it's like Miss. That's one of the characters. Also, actually, Mr. Manderley is one of the. I took his model. That was just like a for fun. It was actually an open mic. It was like a digital open mic night. That was my little video entry. It was a video entry / health PSA. But I made it in Doom and using Deus Ex also. So, well, I didn't. It's not a Deus Ex mod, but I like basically got screenshots of various stuff and got textures of characters from it and used them as like little puppets. I'm not gonna do that in an actual full-on game. I'm gonna have to be making a whole bunch of material for that. So, you know, we'll see. That's one of the things on the list, is to get some prototypes of things for possible future games in the future, and keep talking to people and collaborating with people. If you're watching this video and you missed the chat, because we're gonna wrap up, feel free to leave a comment about what kind of Silver Spook game you might be interested in. Maybe you'd be like, I don't necessarily care what kind of game it is exactly. But I like this theme, or I like this character. You know, I want to see a Proto-J first-person shooter where you're just running around with your golden gun and using mind control and like make like, you know, that's right. Take that baseball bat and whack yourself in the face, you motherfucking pigs. Take that gun and shoot your friend. Take that gun and shoot your John Wayne ass motherfucking. You know, the 5-0 is about to be, the 5-0. I don't know. Is he, because Proto-J, I'm sure, has all kind of. Proto-J, he talks a little bit like Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction, you know. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger, you know. And he's like, I will slam dunk on your ass like Shaquille O'Steal in the RNBA, motherfucker, you know. And then, like, after he blows you away, he's just like rattling off all of these, like, he's just like, you know, dropping bars while he's blowing you away with his Desert Eagle 9.0 golden gun. Let me read the chat. Street Cat Love says, I like communism theme, decolonization theme, public health, masking theme. Well, Street Cat Love, you know, we can definitely keep going those. You know, those are things that we tend to lean towards here at the Silver Spook Cooperative. So thanks for that. Anyways, but yeah, I was just voice acting Protege the other day. So yesterday, so I gotta rap. I gotta do it. I gotta complete all of his voice acting. My goal is to get it done in the next few days. I don't know if I was gonna do it this morning, couldn't, but so we can get done with the voice acting, music. But while I'm doing that, again, I'm gonna be taking suggestions and taking input on these things and talking to people. I'm already in talks with some people about some of these things. Some of the projects I mentioned. Neofeud 3. Some people have said I want Neofeud 3. I mean, we'll see. We'll see about that. I feel like at least I need to at least try some other things before I just go, okay, you know what? Fuck. Okay, fine. Neofeud 3. Here, okay, fine. Neofeud 3. We're doing it. But I gotta at least like do something a little different. I need I haven't taken it. As Arnold Schwarzenegger, as the undying, governor once said, in ye old 90s, I need a vacation. I forget what movie he says it in. I need a vacation. He gets blown up, right? I think Bruce Willis also probably says that 5 times in the Die Hard. Like, oh my God, I need a vacation. After he gets blown up 6 times, he falls out of a helicopter, kills the helicopter with a car, jumps out of a plane. So I think I need one of those. Anyways, okay. Thanks to everybody for hanging out at the Silver Spook live stream chat and talking about future projects. Don't forget to leave a comment. Like and subscribe. I never say that, but like and subscribe, leave a comment. It is greatly appreciated. It helps the algorithm. Also, you can always get Neofeud on Steam, the first one, and every sale does help us at the Silver Spook Cooperative to keep on doing this work here. It is a retro cyberpunk adventure game in the vein of Blade Runner with overlay of I don't even know what to say about that part, but it's feudalism, medieval feudalism overlaid over Blade Runner future in a lot of ways, with lots of satirical cyberpunk comedy and everything that you know and expect from the Silver Spook game. Oh, it's weird. They changed this up. Anyways, if you like Neofeud, don't forget to leave even a very short review because it helps to get the game discovered in the Steam algorithm, which helps us keep on doing the work here. So you can also get Neofeud on itch.io for Windows and Mac and Linux. And you can also get Decolonators, Pigeonwick Gun, and several other games in Digistar. And Woman is a book by Holly, who was raised in right-wing evangelical Christian culture, critiquing that culture. You can also follow on Twitter at Silver Spook Guy, at Silver Spook Games for the games related stuff. And we're also on Mastodon at Silver Spook Games at wandering.shop and at Silver Spook Games at mastodon.social. And we're also on Blue Sky and Instagram. I don't know why Twitter always takes forever whenever I try to open it up. We're also on Blue Sky, of course, Instagram, and everywhere else you can possibly imagine. Much to my daily time allotments chagrin, which I run out of. I don't have time to post. Wow, Twitter, you're really broken today. What happened? Elon, what are you doing? Stop building more methane plants to power Grok and get a functioning website, please. Thank you. At Silver Spook Guy. And you can also follow Holly at Allergic to Blue on multiple platforms, including this one. So don't forget to follow Holly, a partner here, moderator, and always doing very important work in all kind of various ways. And thank you to all of our Patreon patrons for your ongoing support. Without your support, it's hard to keep doing this. So thanks so much. Thanks for all of that as well. And yes. Until next time, keep your mirror shades polished, be excellent to each other. Keep on making those games and brainstorming those stormy neurons. Just making it rain up in that brain. Doesn't make sense, but it rhymes. Have a good one.